What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the League FFB. Excuse me. This is another episode of Let's Talk Dynasty. So if this is your first time here, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting the like button, doing all those things for us. What we're here for today is our monthly Dynasty trade show. Like I said, if this is your first time, we are taking trades submitted from our Dynasty Discord. We have a Discord. It is linked in the description. That is where we pull these trades from, and that is where we review them from. So if you want to submit future trades, make sure you are a member of that Discord. But it wouldn't be an episode of Let's Talk Dynasty unless I had my co-host in the building with me. You guys know who it is, MFGDs. Let's pull him into the building, and let's start talking some fantasy football. How you doing, War?
Don't want to jinx it. Oh, it's kind of dark in here. Don't want to jinx it. Let's not have any technical difficulties on my part today.
Let's recenter myself.
Yeah, let's get it popping.
All right, man. Well, let's get right into it because I gave you some homework. Excuse me. I got like a frog in my throat, but I gave you some homework. I said, bring me a trade of yours and then bring me 4 trades from the Discord that you liked. I would do the same. We'd talk some of these trades. So I have them pulled up. I see we got some people in the comments. So if you guys are in here today, the roll, what's up with you? Brandon, I see you in here. Spacenfeld, I see you in here. All of you guys, Caleb, what's up, man? Appreciate everybody in here. Thank you for being the first ones in here and seeing this video. So let's hop right into this trade show, War. We're going to start with our trades first. One from you, one from me. Johnny Detroit says fire emoji. Appreciate it. But let's pull it up, man. Let's start talking about them because I got our trades brought up like this. And if you guys like the new format for the trade show, let me know because I think this is kind of how I want to do it moving forward. This is how you guys are going to be able to see the trades. This is the way that I brought, or this is the one I brought in for myself, War. So let's give you a little bit of context here. Okay. This is a 10-team league, super flex, tight end premium, PPR. My team was runner-up in the championship. I made the championship game. I wasn't able to win. I lost the game. So I came in second place. It was a team where in the startup, I didn't necessarily love the team. I drafted a little bit older than I usually do, which then kind of made me want to run at that championship year one. We didn't get it done. So going into year 2, I decided I needed a little bit more depth. My team was shallow. I needed some more youth. So here's the trade. I traded Patrick Mahomes and Joe Mixon. I get Kyler Murray, Jordan Addison, Kenneth Walker, and a 2025 second. So how do you feel about this type of trade for my team, knowing the context that I had, War?
Man, you know what? I'll put it to you like this. I'm not going to be a hypocrite, so I'm not going to completely crap on Killer B's side here. But I do like your side, Andrew. I feel like you got a shit ton of value. You got Kyler Murray, who's not going to put up as impressive numbers as Patrick Mahomes, but you also got Jordan Addison. You got Kenneth Walker. You got 25 second. And I mean, I think you did very well for having to trade Patrick Mahomes, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, for me, obviously, dude, like you never want to trade Patrick Mahomes. He's one of those types of players that you just want to have on your roster forever. But the reality is the value that Patrick Mahomes holds in not just dynasty value, but also just like perceived safety value. Like I think in dynasty fantasy football, there is not an asset that we feel more safe about than we feel about Patrick Mahomes. Like I think we all project Patrick Mahomes to be this good for the next decade. Like this is just how we project Mahomes. So because of that, I think his value gets a little bit increased, and he's a little bit more expensive than others. But from like you said, you may take a small hit at the points per game from Mahomes to Kyler Murray, but it's probably not a lot. The reality is your shelf life might get shorter, but if we're playing dynasty in 2 to 3 year windows, I still foresee Kyler Murray being a valuable dynasty asset for the next 3 years. And overall, it was just a trade where I felt like it accomplished what I wanted to do. And it was just, like I said, get some depth, get some youth without taking a major hit at the quarterback position. I ended up making some other moves, fix my QB room entirely. And part of this was also because I took a gamble on Justin Fields early in the offseason. I traded for Justin Fields. I wanted to get some upside swing there. Obviously, nothing panned out, so I had to kind of recorrect and change course. So this is the trade that I did, but overall, that's where we're at. I see a couple people in here saying K9 or K Walker is one of my boys, and then Caleb says, "Be prepared to bend over if you're going to trade with Andrew." So
yes, Caleb, that you're 100% correct.
Crazy. But let's talk about your trade war because you brought this one in, and I want you to talk about this one because I feel like this one got our group chat a little bit. It got people going. So here's your trade. I'll let you walk us through it.
You want me to walk you through it, huh? You want to take a walk with me on the path to hell, huh? Here's my line. Let me give you some context, okay? My team is very bereft. We have some talent. We have some older players, but my team is very bereft. I wouldn't go as far as to call us a rebuilding roster as it's stated here, but we're very bereft. We're in purgatory. I told you we're in purgatory. That's where we are. So here was my logic.
I took purgatory as rebuilding. That's my bad. That's miscommunication.
Okay, here's how I look at it. Justin Herbert, because that's where it all starts. Justin Herbert. I do not like. I came to the conclusion after I looked into it some more. I do not like Jim Harbaugh for Justin Herbert. I feel like he doesn't care. I'm not going to say he doesn't care about quarterbacks because obviously you care about quarterbacks. It's just his offense. He wants to have a run game. He wants to, whatever. But I looked at it. I was like, okay, I feel like CJ Stroud is just going to continue to get even better and better and better. He's like 4 years younger than Justin Herbert. And my team being in purgatory, I'm like, are we going to be good now? Are we going to be good later? I'm going to take a guy that's good now and going to be good later. Not saying that Justin Herbert won't do that, but 4 years from now, Justin Herbert's going to be 30 and Stroud's going to be like 26. So, I mean, I looked at like that. I also like the Tavion Wicks. I don't want to sleep on him. I think that he's one of the interchangeable wide receiver threes for the Green Bay Packers. So, I mean, I might be able to get a little value off of him. Did I want to trade 1.5? No, I did not want to trade 1.5. So I also want to say that I also tried to tear down. So I tried to be the Vegas Sinatra side of this trade at first. I looked for other people in the league. I said, okay, can I tear down with Justin Herbert and get extra assets? I reached out to everybody. in the league, 1.1, but sometimes, you're playing with a bunch of douchebags, so they don't want to trade you what you want in your value. So I had to pivot then. I said, okay, who can I get that I feel like is better than Justin Herbert? CJ Stroud is the third most valuable asset in Dynasty football right now. So I said, okay, let me just move him for CJ. I don't like giving up 1.5. I remember, I'll say that again, but I felt like this is a risk worth taking. I'm getting CJ Stroud. So in this scenario, I'm Killer B. So that's kind of just how I looked at it.
Fair enough. I mean, I see we got Roland here. He says, would you rather have Dobbs or Wicks? I think for me, I'd rather have Dobbs too.
Yeah.
But I will say, look, man, this is an interesting trade for me because I feel like me knowing the context of where your team is at, like I think the biggest thing for me is I see you throwing in that 105, and I know that that's where you say I don't want to do that. But to me, that's like you could get a franchise-changing type of player, like a solidified starter for the next 3 to 5 years if at that 105. Like that's how good this draft class is. And it feels like it's a lot to tear up from CJ Stroud. So I will say I'm interested to see if this is you're going to stick with CJ Stroud or if there's more room for you to tear down now that you have CJ Stroud and maybe do that with Stroud rather than doing it with Herbert. Because if that was your goal in the first place, it's probably easier to tear down from Stroud than it is Justin Herbert right now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something I will do. That's something I'll decide to do depending on what my team is doing during the season. If I feel like I'm successful in the season, I'm winning some games, and I'll probably stick with Stroud. If not, I also want to add in that I'm likely getting Caleb Williams too. So I kind of also went trying to go with like a two juggernaut quarterback approach. Like, hopefully you have two quarterbacks that can score a lot of points. That's just how much I believe in Caleb Williams this upcoming season. And I just think with those two guys at the helm, I could fill it in. I got Derrick Henry. I got some other pieces there in the starting lineup. So I feel like I can still make some noise, and then I'll pivot mid-season if I have to and trade Stroud and tear down a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think
sure.
I just recorded a video actually. Tomorrow's video is updated quarterback rankings for Dynasty Fantasy Football. I threw the rookies in there. So I actually went pretty in detail about Caleb Williams. I love Caleb Williams. Spoiler alert, he is my quarterback 9 in Dynasty Fantasy Football day 1. Without playing a snap, I have him as a top 9 quarterback in Dynasty Fantasy Football. That's how high I am on Caleb Williams. But I do like this trade ultimately from a secondary move. I will say if you sit here where it's Herbert in the 105 for Stroud, I think I'd rather just have the Herbert in 105 side just because Herbert's value is a little bit suppressed right now. I don't know if it's like the optimal time for you to be selling. But when you get a deal like this, like Spacenfeld said, Stroud's going to give you a lot more flexibility. So like having CJ Stroud on the roster is going to allow you to make additional moves, which you probably weren't going to be able to make with Justin Herbert. So as long as you keep moving and jiving, I see where I see the vision. This isn't a finished product. I see the vision. I'm on board with this as long as you keep it pushing.
Yeah, man. Hopefully I can do that.
Fair enough. So let's go into our first submitted trade. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you want trade submitted in future shows, go into the Discord, linked in the description. That's the last time I'm going to say that until probably the end of the show. But let's go into this trade. This is an easy one, simple one, submitted by Anthony Mack. The first trade here is Justin Fields for the 204. Context, it's a 12-team league, super flex, 1.5 tight end premium PPR. He says his quarterbacks are Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, and he was looking for some upside at that QB3 spot with some youth as well. How do we feel about buying Justin Fields as your QB3 in Pittsburgh? And do we think that Justin Fields is playing some football for them as the starting quarterback this year?
Yeah. I feel like he's playing some football for them as a starting quarterback this year. I think that's a good trade, especially depending on which weeks Dak and Kirk have their bye weeks. If they're getting their bye weeks later in the season, I think Fields will potentially already be the starting quarterback by then. And then, I don't mind this trade. To me, this is a fair and even trade.
Yeah, I do too. Honestly, I like these types of upside swings where, 12-man league, you're looking at the 16th player off the board. The reason why I have that guy over there on the right side of the screen, Michael Penix, is that's kind of the type of player that you'd be looking at, 16 guys in. And that's assuming he gets like second round draft capital, not like first round. Obviously, if it's first round, he'll probably go up. But like you're telling me today, you think he's going in the first?
Yeah. You know what? I have crazy thoughts, man. I can see him going in the top 10.
Talk about it. Where's he going? Top 10. Where would he go?
Via trade, either Denver or Las Vegas.
Okay.
I think it's going to get real crazy. I think Minnesota's actually going to end up with Drake Maye. I think that's what's going to end up happening. I don't think they're getting JJ McCarthy. I think the Commanders are going to take JJ McCarthy. I just really believe that.
Yeah, man, it'll be interesting to watch. But like I said, 16th player off the board, or you get a guy in Justin Fields who we've seen have like elite fantasy football numbers. We've seen him do it. It hasn't been consistent. Obviously, it didn't work out in Chicago. The QB clock ran out. He had to go somewhere else. You guys are going to get a generational guy in Caleb Williams. Whatever. At the end of the day, when you're taking this type of upside swing on a quarterback that can put up 20 points per game, I love this type, especially because with Kirk and Dak as QB1 and QB2 in a super flex league, you can wait until however long until Justin Fields, because I think that Dak and Kirk are probably both mid to, I would say Dak is probably a mid QB1, mid-tier QB1, and then Kirk is probably a low-end QB1, high-end QB2?
Yeah. And let me say this. I think one of the biggest mistakes I made this offseason was trading Fields for 2/3 because when I actually had time, that was stupid. When I actually have time to sit back and really digest it and think about it, Justin Fields, anytime he's on the field, anytime he's your starting quarterback, he's a quarterback one in fantasy football. The reason why he's got traded and all this stuff is because it's when fantasy meets reality. In reality, he hasn't really proven that he could be a quarterback that could take you to the playoffs, that could, win you a game, snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But in fantasy, he is like one of those dudes in fantasy that could be your QB1. That's why you took the swing on him last season. You took that swing on him because of that. And I just feel like when you add everything up, you look at the patience of Mike Tomlin, how patient he is, like how patient he was with Kenny Pickett until he started running his mouth, how patient he's been with other quarterbacks, been patient with Ben when Ben was clearly breaking down. I feel like once Justin gets in there, Mike Tomlin is going to understand, and he's going to give Justin Fields the patience that he didn't get in Chicago. Mike Tomlin said in that interview he said that it's not necessarily a failure on the player, it's a failure on the coaching. And that type of mindset is the same mindset that once Justin gets in there, he's going to stay in there. Like, I think Russell will get waived or traded or something. But once Fields is there, that's it.
Yeah, man. I even think, like, even if we were under the assumption that, like, Justin Fields takes a redshirt year, takes the year off, Russ is the 1 year starter, and then going into 2025, they roll with Justin Fields. Like, and let him just learn in Mike Tomlin's system for a year. Let him learn from Russell Wilson, a veteran quarterback, where Justin Fields didn't really get to do that in Chicago. Like, no. If we're under that type of assumption, I still like this type of trade. And I look at where Keep Trade Cut consensus, community-based rankings has Justin Fields right now. They have him right now as the QB 26. They have Michael Penix Jr. as the QB 25. So they're back-to-back. I prefer Justin Fields. We've seen the elite ceiling. It's an upside swing that I like doing. And honestly, like I said, here in the late first or late early second round, you get what I'm trying to say, mid second round, that's where I prefer to take that swing on Justin Fields. And if you can take those dart throws and go get a guy who's given you elite numbers before and probably in a better situation now. Sorry, from what he was in Chicago to where he's going to right now, I'd say it's more consistent for Fields. It probably is a better fit. And so I just like this. It's a good upside swing, and I definitely support this move from Anthony Mack.
Yep, same.
All right, man. Let's move on to trade number 4. This is where 7 Goat Rings, a stan of the show, a guy who's always on the show, out here making moves. He gets Amon-Ra St. Brown. He gives up Rashee Rice and Nico Collins. His context here is it is a 10-team Superflex league, 1.75 tight end premium. You start 11 players, so a little bit deeper PPR, and he wanted to let us know he has 3 first-round picks as well. So how do you feel about adding Amon-Ra St. Brown to a roster that already has 3 firsts that cost you Rashee Rice and Nico Collins? How do we feel about this? Obviously, we had some Rashee Rice news today. That was this trade was before the Rashee Rice news. Yeah, but how do you feel about this?
7 Goat Rings, that boy filthy, man. He's real filthy. He's even filthier now that in light of the news for Rashee Rice. I like this trade before Rashee Rice committed a crime. So
alleged. We can't confirm nothing yet.
I don't know, man. I seen the picture of that dude with his do-rag hanging off his head, leaving the scene of the crime. I don't know. Man, yeah, man. I like this trade for 7 Goat Rings. I have to look at it like in the sense that we know what Amon-Ra is. And we seen a little bit of what Collins is, but like you said last week, the value for Collins, like, that whole deal with the receivers for the Texans is like weird. And then Rice, you don't know like how that's going to pop off. So, I mean, yeah, I definitely like 7 Goat Rings getting the best player in this trade.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree. Anytime you can get a guy like that, I can't remember who just said it. Spacenfeld. He said hammer wide receiver. And you can get one of those like bona fide studs. We talk about the hammers. Like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, this is the tier that we're talking about here. And even though this is a start 11 league, where in start 11, that depth is going to be a little bit more important because you have more starting spots, I just don't feel like Rashee Rice and Nico Collins are big enough pieces to where I'm worried about giving them away for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not to mention he has the 3 first, so he can replace a Nico Collins or a Rashee Rice with a first-round wide receiver talent or something like that in this class, which we know is a strong point of this class, the wide receiver room. So I do like getting Amon-Ra St. Brown, 10-team league, all the stuff. It bodes well for GOAT rings. I love this. I don't think that this is like horrible compensation for Amon-Ra. I probably wouldn't do it. But I don't think it's like horrible, but I would like to see a little bit of a better wide receiver than Rashee, or a little bit better of a receiver than Nico Collins. Probably, like, when I'm looking at wide receivers in that tier, where I would like to potentially get up into is probably like, if it was like Jalen Waddle and Nico Collins, or Jalen Waddle and Rashee Rice, I feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Yeah. Even if it's like Chris Olave, Drake London, something there, like that's where I feel a little bit more comfortable. So overall, a good trade.
I at least would have hit 7 GOAT rings for one of those first, man. I at least got one of those first back, with Rice and Collins.
Yeah, try and get one in there or something like that. Definitely, there's you could add something to that Rashee side and still probably get the deal done. But obviously, I like the Amon-Ra St. Brown side, and it seems like everyone else in here kind of feels that way too. Roll says he likes it. He says Marvin Harrison Jr. over Amon-Ra. I think that's a little bit of a spicy take. I mean, you feel that way. Yeah. I don't feel that way, but he's up in that tier. That's where he's going to be. So anyways, let's move on to trade number 5. This trade is going to be submitted by Anthony Mack again. Talk about a hammer wide receiver. It is going to be Justin Jefferson for Travis Kelce and Puka Nacua. This is a 12-team league, super flex, tight end premium. It is half PPR war. So keep that in mind when grading this. Half point per reception, not a full point. But how do you feel about this type of trade where you're sending Puka Nacua, who is currently being valued as the wide receiver 6 in Dynasty Fantasy Football, plus Travis Kelce in a tight end premium league for Justin Jefferson? How do we feel about this?
What you say in your thumbnail? No way this works. No way this works. Okay, look. I don't care who Puka Nacua think he is. I don't care what he did last year. Travis Kelce is old. Puka Nacua could be a one-hit wonder. You could get Justin Jefferson for that. God bless you. I don't know. Yeah, I'm on the Jefferson side all the way. All the way. Yeah. Like Puka Nacua and Travis Kelce could do the fusion dance and merge, and they still won't be Justin Jefferson. So, yeah, I'm definitely on the JJ side all the way, bro.
Yeah, man. When I saw this trade, I was like, this is wild. But you know what? It makes me think. Do you think people in the community are panicked about the Justin Jefferson situation? I mean, when you think about what is going on with Justin Jefferson, obviously he's seeking a contract. He hasn't got his contract extension yet. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. Obviously, they're looking at going rookie quarterback, a Drake Maye, a JJ McCarthy. Right now, Sam Darnold is there. Like, is there worry about Justin Jefferson? And if there is worry, why? I mean, everybody should be trying to send fishing offers like this where we can go buy Justin Jefferson if there's worry, right?
Yeah, there's worry. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I don't think you've been worried about it. Clearly, some people. I also think this might be like a overvaluation of Puka Nacua. In fact, I think that. I think that. Puka, I think his value is too high right now, man. I understand he broke records, he did all that cool stuff, but nah, man, you don't do that for like no JJ, man.
I just feel like this is the dynasty, let me emphasize that, the dynasty wide receiver 1. It's going to take a lot to get off of him if you have him. For me, I mean, I'm not trading him ever. It doesn't matter. But for me, you're going to have to pay a lot. I think for most people, you're going to have to pay a lot. I don't think that this is paying a lot. I don't feel like if you are, I can't imagine if you're Swex, how do you feel like you got a haul for your Justin Jefferson unless you believe like Puka Nacua's ceiling is like top 3.
You know what? Let me tell you this, because I agree with you. There's never really a case where you should be trading Justin Jefferson. I'm not even going to bring it up. You know it straight up. So you've seen the trade where I traded Justin Jefferson early this offseason. If you trade JJ, you better get a team-altering haul for JJ, something that could take your team like either out of purgatory or out of the basement. I don't feel like trading for an older Travis Kelce and a guy who has to regress next season. Not because he's going to be bad. I just don't think he's going to repeat what he did last season. Like you don't trade JJ for that. That's just like what my mind is with it. If you trade JJ at all, you really shouldn't be doing it at all.
I agree, man. And I want to just like emphasize a couple statistics here with Justin Jefferson, because it does seem like there's going to be some people who are worried about the quarterback of the future for the Minnesota Vikings. And I just want to go through a couple games here, because let's keep in mind, War, that Kirk Cousins was not the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings for like half of the year. It was Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, Jaren Hall. It was a mixed bag of all of these guys.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson also was injured for a majority of the season. He didn't play from like week 5 to week 17, from week 5 to week 14, my bad. When you go and look at the actual numbers for Justin Jefferson in that back half of the season without Kirk Cousins, week 14, not a good week, not going to lie. But week 15, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 15 fantasy points. Week 16, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 1 for a touchdown, 26 fantasy points. Week 17, 10 targets, 5 receptions, 11 fantasy points. Week 18, 14 targets, 12 receptions, 1 touchdown, 36 fantasy points. It is not.
That boy filthy.
It does not matter who plays quarterback. Justin Jefferson is going to get his. And I promise you, whether you dislike Drake Maye, you like Drake Maye, you dislike JJ McCarthy, you like JJ McCarthy, however you feel about any of these prospects, I promise you they're better than Nick Mullins. I promise you. They're better than Nick Mullins.
Most likely.
If those are the numbers that you're getting with Nick Mullins, that's the basement for Justin Jefferson, and he still gave you wide receiver 1 numbers in those games. So if you are worried about Justin Jefferson, do not be worried. I'm not worried. Don't panic sell. Don't do any of that
Ritter, I don't know if not Desmond Ritter, Spencer Rattler. See, they're the same person to me. I don't know if Spencer Rattler better than Nick Mullins, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but all right, man. Well, I do want to let the people know real quick, because we just renewed our contract with Underdog Fantasy. So if you guys want to go play Underdog Fantasy, make sure to hit that link in the description. If you sign up, use code LEAGUEFFB when you sign up. They will give you a 100% deposit match, matching you dollar for dollar up to $100. So if you deposit $10, they will match $10. If you deposit $100, they will match $100, giving you free money to play with on Underdog Fantasy. So you can do best ball drafts, pick'ems, anything you like. They will match it for you over there on Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you sign up using code LEAGUEFFB or using the link in the description. And for new users that sign up using this code, very soon, they will be giving you a free Mystery Pick'em special, which I think this week is going to be Steph Curry to score 1 point. If Steph Curry scores 1 point in an NBA game this week, you cash out. So make sure you sign up using code LEAGUEFFB. You can play in any of these states here that are in the yellow. The grays, you can't play the pick'ems, but you can still do best ball drafts. So make sure signing up, use code LEAGUEFFB or use the link in the description. All right, guys. So that's going to take us over to slide number 6 or trade number 6. This is what we have, War. We have 7 go rings back at it again. He gets the 109. He gives up James Cook and Quentin Johnston. It is a 12-team, 2 quarterback, not a super flex. You have to start 2 quarterbacks. So you don't have the flexibility of having that super flex position. Start 11, full PPR. He said he's retooling and he has the 102 as well. So how do you feel about moving James Cook and Quentin Johnston in this type of format when you are retooling this lineup? You were muted.
Okay. Yeah, no, let me start over. I don't really care about running backs. I think QJ quite possibly is a bust. So he's getting 1.9 for all intents and purposes, an average running back. Can we agree that James Cook is an average running back?
Yeah, I mean, James Cook, he had a good.
Or do we think he has like top of the league, like upside?
I don't think he's top of the league upside, but the reality is he had a good back half of the year. I mean, James Cook looked good down the stretch for Buffalo. And when you look at where James Cook is being valued right now, he's running back 12 on Keep Trade Cut, 24 years old. He's being valued as a late first round type of pick. That's equivalent value. So this is kind of on par with the value for where the community has him. You throw in Quentin Johnston as well. Do you think that's a sneaky ad from Scooby for Quentin Johnston? I mean, there's nobody else in that wide receiver room right now. It's Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer.
I look at it like this. If James Cook is worth the late first, you could even did the late first and James Cook, straight up swap. Throwing in QJ, that's just like extra. Let's see, we'll see what happens. So, I mean, I don't mind the trade. It's an all right trade. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I preferred 7-go ring side, but it ain't bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you're retooling, I think having the liquidity of a draft pick is better than having a running back. No matter how you are or what the roster construction looks like. To me, this is fine. I mean, 109, I have Troy Franklin on the picture. It could be Brian Thomas Jr. It could be JJ McCarthy. It could be, there's a whole bunch of different, I assume in a 2 QB, JJ McCarthy's not falling down there because the quarterback's going to be even more important than it is in Superflex. It's probably like a Troy Franklin, Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell. Like that's what you're getting. And I like that in a retool. I think for Scooby, if you're a competitive team, this is a good deal for you too. I think both sides are good. This is a team, or this is a trade where I don't really have a strong preference either way. It's a good overall trade. And I do think adding Quentin Johnston, throwing him in there, if you have deals that are fair right now and the other guy has QJ and you just say, hey, throw QJ in and we got a deal. I don't mind throwing QJ in on a couple of these deals just to hold him for the season and see what happens. I mean, Johnny's in here. He says, QJ has one more year to prove his value. He said, I'd take the gamble for 109. So I think all things are true here. And so for me, even trade, I understand Goat Ring's reasoning for doing it. It makes sense in his team's context. I also like Scooby side. I think they all make sense. This is a good trade overall.
Yeah, I agree. I prefer the one, but I mean, you can't really go bad, especially if the team is a contender. And you get the upside of QJ, who knows what happens with him this year. We'll see. One more year.
Yep, exactly. And if you're going to buy a running back, at least buy a young one. And that's what James Cook is. He's young, so makes sense. Let's move on to the next trade here. We got GB Forever and AZ Forever. It must be, I don't know how they both have the exact same name, but we got Michael Mayer, Kendre Miller, the 107, and a 2025 third for the 101 and a 2025 fourth. So this is a 12-team Superflex tight end premium PPR. It was submitted by AZ Forever. So he says his biggest need was QB. He traded to go get Caleb Williams. And I'm just going to be honest, War. I don't know how deeply we need to talk about this trade. This is cheap. This is a cheap type of trade for Caleb Williams. If you can buy Caleb Williams at this price, it's ridiculous. I like Michael Mayer and I like Kendre Miller as potential breakouts in year 2.
Yeah.
I'd give him in a heartbeat with the 107 to go get Caleb Williams. This is crazy. We don't got to talk about this too deeply. What do you think?
You know what I think. I mean, Jesus, man. I wish I could get 1-1 for that. A tight end that may or may not pan out, a running back that may or may not pan out, a late first and a third from next year. Yeah, I wish I can get it. And he had the nerve to get a fourth too. So.
Spacenfeld said it. He said it best. This feels like a KTC steal. You plug a bunch of things into a calculator so it evens out, and you just send them a package of garbage. It's that 4 quarters do not equal $1. Yes, they may financially equal $1, But are you rather going to carry around 4 quarters, or you just want a dollar bill in your wallet? Give me the dollar bill. I do not want these quarters. Also, I think the reality is, if you were asking me, homie got 60 cents and I gave him $1 here. He didn't even get the full dollar back. We taxed him on it as well. So give me the Caleb Williams side. We don't got to talk about it.
Yeah, they taxed him that league safe tax.
Crazy. Let's talk about this next trade here. Johnny Detroit submitted this. He gets Justin Jefferson and J.K. Dobbins. He gives up the 108, the 109, the 201, and a second. He said it is a 12-team Superflex PPR best ball. So they do not set their lineups. It's just best ball scoring that sets the best lineup for them every week. He said he still has the 101, the 103, the 105.
Yeah, see, that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. You know what? That's a damn shame, because I'm looking at the trades and I'm like, if that person would have got a top 3 pick in return, like, let's say you swap out, if I'm trading JJ, man, I'm gonna be like, Johnny, look, I want 1-8, 1-9, and 1-3, and that second, like, three first, including the top. Okay. But man, this is another steal too. This is another, like, he traded a bunch of late first and 1 second and a second from next year for JJ. Forget J.K. Dobbins. We just talking about JJ. Like,
Dobbins a throw in, but I mean, look, dude, it's good on you, Johnny. I mean, you get the golf clap. Like, good on you. Yeah. You were able to go fishing. I mean, it's the same thing that we said with Anthony Mack. You go in, you trade for Justin Jefferson, you get people that are nervous right now. If this is the price we are paying, every single one of you watching this show right now need to go send offers for Justin Jefferson in your leagues. If this is what is happening in Dynasty leagues, and this may be 2 one-off cases where it's unique situations and things like that, I don't care. At least check the temperature. Go see what the price is for Justin Jefferson, because the trades that I'm seeing right now, it's asinine. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I don't believe that this is the value that you should be paying or you should be able to send to acquire Justin Jefferson. I'm totally with you. If he wants the JJ from my team, you have to come off of at least the 103. But more so, I'm looking at you and saying, look, brother, it's going to be the 101, or you gotta move on. Like, I'll send you my Justin Jefferson for the 101 and that 201, and we can call it a day. Like, that's where I'm at with Justin Jefferson. But I'm also a little bit biased, so I understand that my price might be a little bit higher. But I know for damn sure that is not the value of where Justin Jefferson is in the community. These are low ball. You're getting elite blue chip assets for nothing, virtually nothing. Gambles, lottery tickets. That's what you paid. And give me Justin Jefferson all times.
Let me give you an idea on what you should get for Justin Jefferson. I said I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to go, damn it, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is what you get for your, now never mind that I also trade in this trade guys like Singletary and Williams. They're side pieces. First, when I traded JJ, I got back Stephon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk, 1.2, the first for next a 25 first, a 24 third, and a 25 second. I got like a team transcending haul for JJ. That's what you're supposed to get for JJ. This is just a bunch of, man, I bet, man, I don't know if Johnny received this trade or if he sent this trade, but if that trade was sent to him, he probably broke his finger accepting that trade.
Crazy, dude. It's just ridiculous. Good job. Like I said, good job, Johnny. But at the end of the day, guys, like, this ain't right. This ain't right. This ain't what you want. This is bad value for Justin Jefferson. If you have Justin Jefferson, Johnny, you ran away with it. He said it was a counter. So you ran away with it, brother. Let's move on to the next one, War. We got 7 Go rings back at it again. This is a little bit of a bigger trade, but let's talk about it. We got 104, Chris Olave, Trey McBride, and Kenny Pickett, I think, just thrown in. Let's not worry about Kenny Pickett. Yeah. Justin Herbert, David Montgomery, Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. How do we feel about this type of trade? I mean, the way I'm looking at it, War, when you take Kenny Pickett out, it's Herbert for the 104, which is probably what, Maye or Daniels, or I mean, he says his quarterbacks are Lamar and Hurts, so he could even be looking at Marvin, Odunze. Like this is Nabers. This is where he could be looking at it. It's a 12-team Superflex start 11 PPR. Where are we at?
Okay, so the two players I'm going to eliminate is Pickett, obviously. And I'm going to take David Montgomery out there because I feel like running backs are just like, for the most part, if you're not one of the like top guys, you're just like a replacement level asset. So we're talking about Herbert and JSN for 1-4 Olave and McBride. And that's why, it's tough, man. It's tough because
I mean, look. Let's break it down. Where are we at right now with Justin Herbert? Is the 104 enough to sell Justin Herbert? To me, I need more than the 104.
Yes. Do you think that with Herbert, we're almost in a JJ-like situation where there's some panic over Justin Herbert?
I think so. I do. I think so. I mean, to me, if we keep going and looking at it, like, where are you at with Trey McBride in Dynasty right now?
Trey McBride in Dynasty is whatever. He's kind of like, to me, although a lot of people like him, he's a replaceable part to me too, especially if the Cardinals draft Marvin. So, I mean,
okay. So I guess
he's like a cold commit to me.
Okay, that's definitely a hotter take than I feel like where the community is at, because I think the community right now probably has McBride as a top 5 guy. And so my question then would be, just to keep breaking this down, if I offer you 104 and Chris Olave for Herbert, is that enough?
Probably not. Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. I got Stroud for Herbert, so I felt good about that no matter what. So, yeah, that wouldn't be enough.
Okay. So, I mean, we're just looking at it right now. The most valuable piece in the deal is Justin Herbert. And if we did it, let's just call, because I think from a value standpoint, some people would probably bite on that 104 on the Olave side. So let's say 104 and Olave gets you Justin Herbert. Then you're looking at Trey McBride and Kenny Pickett for JSN and David Montgomery. It feels like the value is down there on that Rocky side. Like it doesn't matter how you feel about the assets. It feels like the value is on the Rocky side.
Yeah. I think McBride's being overvalued a little bit.
And I also get, and that's it seems like that's where a lot of people are at here. Brandon says dudes are too high on McBride. Johnny says McBride sentiment is super high right now. And then Johnny says JSN sentiment is super low. So like, I feel like people are low on JSN. People are high on McBride. It feels like, we sit on here and we talk about GOAT rings usually coming out on top. This feels like one of the few where he might have not got them. And it's okay. You don't get everybody every time GOAT rings, but it seems like he might have not got him. I think the value's on the bottom side. And I understand where he says like he has Lamar and Hurts, so he doesn't feel like he needs Justin Herbert, but I feel like there's got to be maybe this was the best package he could have got, and that's what he settled for. But I feel like this is just not something that I would have done. I feel like I almost feel like you could have took JSN out, and this would have been fair. Like if you take JSN out, it probably is fair.
Yeah, I also want to know why he didn't get back like a third quarterback, because Kenny Pickett ain't it.
Unless he's going to
replace. Why he got Pickett because he's Hurts backup, but I think it would have still been nice to see him get back like a couple tiers down quarterback in the deal too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's planning on replacing at 104. Maybe he has another guy on the bench that we don't know about. Yeah. But also, Johnny says if the 104 equals Nabers, does that change our view? To me, probably not. I mean, I think about these guys in terms of startup value. I think there's everybody in that 7 GOAT ring side. Like Olave is probably a 3rd round pick. Nabers is a 3rd round pick in startups. McBride's probably somewhere in that 3rd round as well in startups, but we said he's probably overvalued right now. Like, and then Justin Herbert, he's a
first rounder.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert's a top 7 pick, top 8 pick in Dynasty startups right now. Like, even with us feeling negative about the outlook right now, he's still a top 8-9 pick in startups. Like I don't know. And then JSN, obviously upside. We want to see him do it in year 2. Who knows? But yeah, man, I think this is an interesting trade. And to me, I just feel like if I have to pick a winner, I think there's more value on the Rocky side. But it's not, I don't think it's a landslide, but you might have gave away a free JSN when you didn't have to.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, well, let's move on to the last trade of the day here. We do have this one from Rookie and the Vet, and he is in a 10-team Superflex tight end premium PPR. He says it is a contending roster. He gives up Zay Flowers and the 107, and he receives AJ Brown. So how do we feel about this one here?
Me personally, I like B-Dub side. I mean, Ragnarok's, LeBrock's, whatever it's called. I like his side better. I mean, I think AJ Brown, I feel like he has nowhere to go but down. Like from here, I feel like if you can walk away, yes.
Okay.
So you know how I feel. I feel like the top 7 picks in this rookie draft are like more about like the value goes down after 7. And I feel like if you walk away with Zay and the Odunze or Brock Bowers or something like that, or one of the 3 quarterbacks, I feel like you're walking away with more value than AJ Brown.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I think AJ Brown still, when healthy, he's one of those guys that we talked about with Amon-Ra St. Brown, like a hammer wide receiver. I think AJ Brown is right there. I wouldn't put him in the same tier as those guys, but like he'd probably be the top of the tier for the guys below in that next group. For me, at least. I think AJ Brown is still a guy that I'm very confident in. Brandon's in here. He says that Eagles are going downhill. Obviously, there was question marks at the end of the year. The offense didn't look as good. Was that play calling? I don't know. I mean, they brought in Kellen Moore, and we can argue that the Chargers offense didn't look that good last year either under Kellen Moore. So there is question marks, I think, with the Eagles. Although, with that being said, Zay Flowers and the 107, it feels appropriate. I mean, 107, we're talking like the last of those guys, maybe. I mean, what, Brock Bowers probably? So Brock Bowers and Zay Flowers is probably where we're at with this. I don't know. It doesn't feel like you paid a lot to get AJ Brown. I feel like I prefer to start AJ Brown in my lineup over both of those guys every week. Zay Flowers, to me, I like Zay Flowers. I know that some people don't like the situation that he's in. I think it's a fine situation. I just feel like Zay Flowers is probably capped at like a wide receiver 2 for fantasy football. I don't ever foresee him being a top 12 guy. So for me, AJ Brown, this is a guy who can be top 5. And I would rather have the guy who can be top 5, has shown us top 5 numbers, even if he takes a hit this year and let's say he's top 10. You want a guy who's top 10 or you want a guy who's giving you wide receiver 2 numbers? I probably am going to go with the guy who's top 10. I prefer to have the hammer, especially in a 10 team. The depth isn't as needed in 10 team. You need more of those hammers. Give me AJ Brown. Give me the AJ Brown side. That's where I'm at.
I feel like at 1-7, you have a snowball's chance of getting one of the 3 receivers that I think could be better than AJ Brown. Depending on who's picking and what are they picking, it's not unrealistic to think that there's some guy that Brock Bowers could go, depending on what a team needs in whatever league that is. Oh,
yeah, I definitely feel that too. So, do you feel like Odunze? Okay? Let's talk about those top 3 wide receivers. You have it Marvin, and then what? Nabers, Odunze. That's the order you have it in.
Yeah, but I have Nabers and Odunze as like 2A and 2B. Like I don't think there's a gap between those 2. I think there's a small gap between Marvin and Nabers and Odunze.
Okay. So where would you, projection wise, like are you viewing Odunze as a top 10 guy, a guy who could be top 10?
He won't be top 10 because he's going to be on the Bears. So that'll cap him from, I'm pretty sure. that's going to cap him from being there because he's going to be on the team with two veteran wide receivers. So I don't think he'll be a top 10 guy, but I do think that going forward he will be.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if it's Odunze, I can see the argument of having Flowers and Odunze. But I think Spasenfeld said it, like, depending on the amount of starters you need, it could sway my thoughts either way. Ultimately, that tells me that this is probably a fine trade. Like, nobody's a clear winner. I think you could make arguments for either way. Definitely people are going to have preferences. It sounds like you prefer the Zay Flowers side. I might prefer the AJ Brown side. But overall, good trade to me. Johnny says this is 10 team. Odunze should not be available at 107. We'll see. So definitely something to consider, but good trade overall. So, all right, man. Well, that is going to conclude this episode of our Dynasty Trade Review show. So with that being said, y'all, if you could do me the favor, I see we got 25 people up in here right now. Hit that like button for us before you leave tonight. If you hit that like button on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter, click the YouTube link, go over to YouTube and hit the like button for us. We do a lot to show us some support. Also, want to let you guys know, we have a goal over here at the League FFB to reach 1,500 subscribers by the NFL draft. I truly think we can do it. I have it marked out. I'm manifesting this. We need your guys' help. If you are new to the channel, if this is your first time watching this video, first time seeing our faces, you liked what we put together, you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you never miss a future upload. Dynasty trade shows like this coming out every month. Also, a bunch of other content. You guys, I promise you'll like it. But with that being said, also make sure you go join the Discord. The Discord is where we are submitting these trades for future reviews. Everything that I pulled today was from that Discord. So our next trade show will be pulled from there. It's linked in the description, free to join. You can go in there, submit your Dynasty Fantasy Football trades for a chance to have them reviewed on our next episode. And that's really all I got for you guys tonight. We got a couple more comments to get out of here. We got the roll, he says, I already licked, aka already liked it. Stupid autocorrect. Johnny says happy Easter. So yes, definitely happy Easter to you guys and your families. If you traveled for Easter, travel home safely. It's crazy out there, so make sure you guys get home safely. And Ward, do you have anything else for the people before we get on out of here tonight?
Yeah, man. Over here on the League FFB, we trying to get 1,500 subscribers by draft time. Over on the Crimson Mass Show, we trying to get 1,000 subscribers. Hell, let's try it by draft time. Okay, we almost there. We about 189 subscribers away from 1,000. Just go follow us and subscribe to us on the Crimson Mass Show, where we talk about professional wrestling. The Rock is back. Everybody knows The Rock. Come hear about The Rock. Come hear about The Rock beating people bloody, cussing, dropping F-bombs, and calling out people mama. That's what he's doing over there. So go follow us at the Crimson Mass Show over on YouTube and subscribe, like, turn your notifications, all that good stuff.
Yep, for sure. And the roll says, what's Ward's channel? He said it, Crimson Mask. It's also going to be linked in the description. So where the social medias are in the description, you'll see my Twitter, you'll see everything else. You'll see Ward's channel in there as well. So it's going to be there. It's going to be linked. You guys go check that out. But with that being said, War, happy Easter to you, brother. And look, Easter. Man, let's get on out of here.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Peace out.
Free Rashee Rice.